What's up, everybody? It's Stephen Williams, founder and president of the CreditRepairShop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about, it's Friday, so we're going to talk about the debt that was released in the market, millions of dollars. And then I'm going to talk about the 10 things that you should know before you deal with any debt collector. I wrote this article, and it's in my little booklet here that I had put out way back. What year was this? We're talking way back in like 2008. 2008 I put this one out. I think it was even before that. But I'm going to tell you some things that what I always tell people to do when I'm either doing a workshop or I'm doing a webinar online. I tell them there's certain things that you need to be aware of when you're dealing with debt collectors. And real quick, on my way to work today, I was thinking in the car. I was like listening to one of the talk shows on XM radio, and I was just thinking to myself, how easy, because they were talking about Americans were under a lot of stress, that people in America are under a lot of stress right now, and I was just thinking to myself, how easy is it for people to, number one, try to tell you how you should be thinking? And then how easy is it for an individual to just want to have a negative attitude? Like, you could just come into work or deal with your family, and just how easy it is to have a negative attitude. And maybe you're finding yourself doing that to where someone says something to you and you're just negative, or you're like, oh, I don't know, or whatever. And I admit that there was times that I used to kind of do that in my past. And I maybe even catch myself before I say something negative, where I'll just say, don't do that or don't act that way. And because I'm more consciously aware of that, number one, we control the attitude that we have, if it's negative or positive. Energy that comes from us has no meaning or no, it doesn't have to be negative or positive. It's just energy, and our thoughts is what's going to make that negative or positive, and our thoughts come from how we feel. So that's why, number one, when you wake up in the morning, is that you have to get yourself into a positive mode. The way you get yourself into a positive mode is to think about positive things, even if negative things have happened to you, even if there's something that you're dealing with that could be seen as negative, but you have to put yourself into a positive mindset on the way that you're going to attack, or the way that you're going to attack that negative challenge that you're going through. And remember that the negative is not in you. It is something that is happening external. So you control the way that you go after any challenges that come about in your life. So let's move forward here. I got my list of the debt that is put into the market. Again, I'm only going to go with the ones that's in the millions of dollars, and we have mixed credit cards, charge off date, average, this is crazy, average charge off date 2007, which means that all of this debt, $10 million worth of this debt, is past charge off date. So if you get anything, if you're in this group of mixed credit cards and department store cards, another group of mixed credit cards, $85 million, charge off date 2007, past statute of limitations for every state. So these debt collectors the only reason why they buy these is because people don't know their rights, and they'll end up getting the debt reauthorized by making a small payment, by doing some type of acknowledgement to get the contract started over, and it'll start that date over. Don't pay any money to any debt collection company. Do a full validation. Get your credit reports and look at the charge off date, because that's when the clock starts ticking on the statute of limitations. We have another one here, mixed credit cards, 1.2 million. Mixed major credit cards, mixed department store cards, 1 million. Mixed retail credit cards, 9.2 million. Mixed retail credit cards, 7.8 million. Mixed accounts is not, let me go back. The charge off dates on the 1 million was 2012. On the 1.2 million was 2011. The 9.2 million, 2011. 7.8 million was 2009. So these are past statute of limitations. Also, we're on the border of statute of limitations for the $1 million worth of debt. Mixed accounts, 28.9 million. Charge off date, 2008. Past statute of limitations. This one here is from one provider, not a mixed group of accounts. Looks like auto loans, 2008, 8.9 million. More mixed credit card, department store, 21.5 million. Charge off date 2010, past statute of limitations. Payday loan 2.1, payday loan 1.1. Charge off date 2014. This is on the border for some states. 7 years is for credit on your credit reports unless you can prove something that is a technical violation, which is inaccurate about the way they report. What I'm talking about when I say past statute of limitations, this could be where the debt is not legally able to be collected. These two that are 2014, depending on your state, you need to find out the statute of limitations for your particular state. 2014, this was 5 years after. Some states have a 4-year statute of limitations, 3-year, 2-year. My state has a 6-year. Wisconsin has a 6-year. Mixed retail, 4.5 million. 2012 was the charge off date. Mixed retail, 19.9 million. Charge off date 2011. Mixed retail, 5.3 million. Charge off date 2012. Not sure what this company is, but it's $50.9 million, 2009 charge off date. Mixed retail, 11.2 million. Charge off date 2007. Payday loan, $2 million. Charge off date 2016. So if you get any of these types of debt, you can go through my other YouTube videos to see what you can do to deal with those. But the first thing that you need to do is, if you get any letter from a debt collector, is immediately go and look at your credit report to see the charge off date for that original creditor. And then you could see if you're going to just be able to send them a letter saying that it's past statute of limitations for contract law in your state. You can, once you see if it's not past statute of limitations, you still need to see also if it's past statute. You can look and see if it's past statute of limitations for your credit reports, because it may not be able to be on your credit reports. And then also past statute of limitations for your lost my train of thought when my phone went. Past statute of limitations for your state for contract law. Also, you need to also check on that. So number one, if it's past statute of limitations for being on your credit reports, which is 7 years, without any technical violations to get it removed, any inaccurate information, just the 7 year, the regular 7 year, and then past statute of limitations for even being able to collect the debt for contract law. Sorry about that. I had a quick interruption. I'm starting to get work time about to start here, so people are texting me. So let's go into the 10 things you should know before dealing with debt collectors. This is something that I had wrote years ago, and remember, the information that I'm giving you, this is stuff that I've actually either worked with my clients, but first is that I had learned from dealing with stuff myself. So first thing that you need to understand when you're dealing with debt collection companies is that don't fall for commercials um, promising to eliminate your debt. What I saw in the past, I don't really see this much anymore, but there were commercials that were being ran, and they were actually being ran by debt collectors. And what they would do is they would get you to call in about your debt, and then they would kind of flip it over and then go to debt collectors directly to them and try to work out deals and say, hey, we'll collect that debt for you. And so, yeah, that was something that you had to be very careful about. I don't see that happening right now, but just in case, I want to make you aware of it. This is where you'll see commercials that are being ran, and then they'll get all of the data and information about all the debts that you have, and then they'll reach out to see who owns that debt, and then they will actually become the debt collector for that particular debt. Another thing is, don't call a creditor about settling a debt if you don't have the money to settle. Um, I would say that I would change that. So just like I said, I wrote this a while back. What I would have you do is, and that's if you're looking at settling, but now I would rather have you call the debt collection company and just don't answer any questions about your financial situation, but you need to get all of the data and let them know that you're going to be sending them information about validating the debt to make sure that you have a legal obligation to pay it, and then you don't. It's basically something like a fact finding mission to find out information about the particular debt. Hold on one second. All right, now put my phone on silent there. So yeah, you're basically what I've told people to start doing is start gathering information. So you want to call them, see who the original creditor is, how much they're trying to get you to pay. You're just basically trying to get information. Don't answer any question about your financial situation. Just say that you're trying to gather information about the particular debt. Anything that they can send you, please send it in the mail, and you can tell them that you do not want them to communicate with you by phone, that you would rather have them communicate with you in the mails. And that way you can have everything in writing that they're talking about. The next thing is, if you do do decide to go ahead and make a settlement with them, don't sign yourself up to make settlement payments or any monthly payments with them unless you understand fully that you do have to pay the debt, and also that it won't put you into a bad financial situation, because you don't want to be paying them and then you lose your car or your house or your insurance that you need for medical or medicine. You need to when you're looking at making a settlement, you need to put together a plan and have your whole entire picture put together in that plan of your financial situation. You know, how you're going to be able to afford groceries and all that stuff. You need to know everything before you agree to any type of payment plan. Next thing is, don't trust their words, get everything in writing. I just kind of said that. You want to make sure that anything that they say about the debt, anything that they try to say about potential settlements, anything, that you always get it in writing. The next thing is, if you decide to settle, is don't send a check from your account. Don't give them your account numbers or anything over the phone. Use a money order or cashier's check. Just I always just say to do that, because not to say that all debt collection companies are going to try to do something wrong. It's just that it's better to not give them your information, because there has been cases where people have paid and then all of a sudden they had more money drafted out of their account. The next thing is, in your memo section, when you do the cashier's check or the money orders, make sure to put the paid in full in that, and also you can throw in there that they'll be taking that off of your credit reports. Don't forget to include a settlement letter yeah, if you take, when you send the cashier's check, make sure that you have the settlement letter that they agreed to when you made the agreement with them to pay off that debt. Or if it's going to be a payment arrangement, make sure that you include that when you send in your initial payment. Let's see here. Make sure that you get it in an allocated time. This is something that I've seen where if they'll when they're doing settlements, they usually want to get that payment within 10 days, and if you don't get it in there in that time, they can consider that agreement to be voided. So make sure that you, if you're going to mail it in to them, you make sure that you have something to prove that you mailed it in on time, or you can drop it off at their office. They'll allow up to 10 to 20 days. Yeah, they'll usually allow up to 10 to 20 days on that. And also, don't forget to send it certified mail, whatever you're doing with them when you're doing a validation or you're doing something where you're sending a payment to them or information to them. You want to make sure that that you have some evidence that you, number one, sent it and that they received it, just in case this get escalated into where you're going into court. Let's see. Don't forget that when you're making settlements, keep copies of the cashier's check, keep copies of the of the contract agreement that you had with them, and you need to put that into a safe place so you can always keep that just in case this debt pops up again. You never know. I've seen it happen before. You want to make sure that you keep that information in a safe place, because what's happened before is that these debts are sold in packages, and you never know if it just accidentally gets included and mailed to them, or sold to another debt collector, and they try to come after you for a debt that you've already settled and done the payment on. So those are the things that I would tell you to always keep to the forefront when you're dealing with debt collection companies, because you never know what can happen, and you don't want to end up paying a debt collector when you don't have to pay one. So now, if you have any questions about debt collection, or if you have questions about a debt that's debt collectors coming after you, put it in the comments here. I'll give you, tell you what I would do in that situation. If you need help with your credit, visit our website, thecreditrepairshop.com. If you need your credit reports, we had a link below where you can get your credit reports in all three scores. It's your3scores.com. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to it. Tell your friends and family about it. I really appreciate the comments. I really appreciate the page likes that you, or the video likes that you give me. I really appreciate everything. And until next time, thanks a lot.